Gang, hope you're very well. Welcome to the last, I suppose, like walkthrough of my training split for this off season. Hope you're very well. Again, excuse the fucking hay fevery nose, but I have hay fever, so there you go. Anyway, so we're gonna get into today's session, which is basically gonna be a push and quad day. So yeah, fairly simple. You've obviously gone through pretty much every single day so far. This is the last day. So yeah, we're gonna get into it. Essentially, what we're gonna be doing is starting off with delts. There's a few reasons why I start off with delts before pressing. And ever since I tore my pec, it's like if I just go straight into pressing, my pec really flares up. And there's also something to be said for warming up the delt in almost like a lateral raise movement before you go into pressing. So that's basically what we're going to be doing. So we're going to be doing 3 sets of the machined lat raise. You can do this the other way, however, it doesn't really get you to work in like the scat plane, which is basically where you've got like, I suppose, almost like the frontal plane, which is like a little bit too laterally. You can come out in front and it's just going to attack the delt just a little bit more favorably, which is basically we're just going to turn around in terms of, I suppose, like the lat raise. You're meant to be doing it the other way. The back support is on the back. So basically, we're just almost like facing the back pad. But yeah, you can basically, or it just allows you to work in the scat plane. So that's that. We then move on to the trusty shoulder press. I've had the shoulder press in, or this specific shoulder press in, for nearly 2 years now. So yeah, that's basically that. I have somewhat reset the form on here just for the simple standpoint of it was almost turning into a glorified like incline or flat press just because I had such an excessive arc in my back, which meant that I was like leaning back into it, which meant that it was turning into like a chest press, which explained why I was so fucking strong at it, because essentially I am quite a strong presser, especially chest. So yeah, basically what we're doing is almost like ego checking. We're basically sitting to, I suppose, we're performing the shoulder press like we're meant to, right? And we're basically backtrack loading. Of course, we're gonna get back up into the stack territory, which is basically where we had it before. But right now, I suppose we do have it stacked. We just want to jump in and stack. So we've got basically lateral raise, 3 sets, shoulder press, top and back off, and then basically we're going to go into a chest press, top and back off. I don't really like this chest press. However, there's nothing really that's going to imitate what I want it to do, which is basically converge. We don't have any like converging like chest machines in Kratos. It's quite limited here. So essentially, this is just what we're going to have to work with. I would go dumbbells, but like I said before, I'm a relatively strong presser, and like flinging up 60 kilogram dumbbells is just a fucking pain in the ass. I'd rather just sit on a machine, to be honest. So there's top and back off of that, and then we go into a pec deck. This is actually running 3 sets. This is such a weird machine because essentially it looks like a bag of shit. But it's actually like just a wild machine. It is very heavy and they're like, I suppose, like mid to shortened. So when you're getting into, I suppose, like here or here, it is quite taxing. But if you cue your like, I suppose that would be like biceps together. You can get short. It's a weird one for a training partner to spot because essentially they've got to like get over you and then like almost like press you in. So, but it will do. It's absolutely fine. It's getting stimulus to my pec, which is the most important thing. We then move back onto a lateral raise. So just to clarify again, we got 3 sets of the pec deck. We then go back onto the lat raise just to finish off delts. Mainly from the like civil standpoint of if I did this all together, yeah, number one, like Preston will get taxed, just that. And then also, I do think that I suppose, like delt volume would actually become, I suppose, like less and less high quality. So essentially, what we're doing is basically just targeting it in the scat plane, and now we're more so going towards like that frontal plane. So yeah, we're majorly taxing in the lengthened and I suppose and real like mid position here. So yeah, these really fucking fry my delts. These are pretty fucking nasty, especially after all that work beforehand. Then we have the doozy, which is basically like, yeah, you're pretty much done with the session. Then all of a sudden we've got fucking continuous reps with leg press. I'm not gonna lie, this gives me like mild anxiety on a fucking Saturday night. Just like, yeah, knowing we've got this the next day is not fun, but it's a part of the game, I suppose. So yeah, we basically have continuous reps, which basically just means we don't really have much of a pause at the top. He says after pausing at the top, but that will get rectified this week, trust me. But yeah, it's a doozy. I mean, I was going to plug in hack squats just for the simple standpoint of I just love hack squats. The only real issue with that is because I'm so close to prep still, it's just a lot of fatigue, really. So I'm kind of like almost like biding my time with this. We're going to run the squat press until realistically I get really bored of it, and then we're going to move towards a hack squat. This is actually very, very similar to a hack squat, which is really good. Like the kind of like it's literally called a squat press or a pivot press. So you get like the same benefit in the lengthened position as you do like with a hack squat. You just don't have that like axial loading, which is like basically like I suppose it would be like spine compression, right? So essentially you just sit on this and go. The only I suppose like negative situation is you can lift quite a lot with it, which is why we're going with continuous reps. You can lift quite a lot with it. So like I would be anywhere between like 8 to 9 reps, right? 8 to 9 plates right now. And unloading that, like after you've done all that work, is just nick so good, y'all. So yeah, that's kind of the reason why I want to go to a squat like pattern as soon as possible. Is quite simply, I know that I haven't got a 9 plate squat at me just yet. Not to say that I potentially might not someday, but definitely not now. So yeah, I suppose like the merit is right now we'll kind of like continue on as is for now until it gets too much and a bit of a ball ache with plates, right? And then we'll switch off to a hack squat. By that point, once we've rinsed this squat press, I think yeah, I'll be like almost like fatigue free from prep. So yeah, that'll be quite nice. Not to say that I'm carrying a load of fatigue in prep, but obviously when you're going for a prep, it does take some time to get back to normal. So yeah, that's basically that. We then move on and finish up with triceps. So we basically have an X push down. We then have a Katana push down. So with the leg press, we've just got 2 sets, which is a top and back off. Then we go into triceps, which is basically going to be an X push down, and then we've also got a Katana, which is basically overhead. But that's basically my whole entire split in one. Now, obviously, this is going to be what's working for me. It's going to be assessing my weak points, my strong points, whatever. So if you copy this, I'll always say, by all means, copy it. But essentially, your volume requirements and I suppose like needs are going to be different to mine. So this is a good way to like outline what I'm doing personally, but understand that what I'm doing to what you potentially need is going to be so drastically different. Also understand from a stress point of view as well. There's going to be an element of you might have very, very low stress, so your volume might be much higher than mine. My stress might be lower than yours, so you might need much less volume than me, or you can't handle as much pressing as me, or you can't handle as much, I suppose, like lower back loading. There's all these different variables. This is what I kind of say to all my clients, is that there's all these different variables, and technically we could run exactly the same split, like spot to spot, like I suppose like movement to movement, exactly the same. However, there's just going to be drastically different results, which is kind of why we go through coaching, right? It's basically that. Like we can basically like toggle, switch things to actually suit you as an individual, not just give you like this blanket program and say, "Yeah, mate, crack on." We adjust things from a microscopic level. But yeah, that's basically my microcycle. If you've got any questions, then feel free to obviously ping me a message. But I hope you're well, and I'll speak to you guys in a bit.